I think we're live. Are we live? Let me turn this up a little bit. Dark in here. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. This is United versus Everybody. I am your host, Sean, and this, again, as always, is the Manchester United fan channel that is for you. It is fan opinion first, always. I'm just here to kind of be the eye candy, I guess, right? Wink. But also facilitate the conversation, put the topics of discussion out there, get your thoughts most importantly, because it's your thought, your opinion, your perspective, your feedback that power the channel and make it what it is. We're at over 1,200 subscribers on the road to 2K. I will be doing more giveaways when we get to 2K, and it's all just in thanks to you guys for helping the channel get there. So I do appreciate everything you guys are doing. Appreciate everybody getting involved, getting the comments in, getting involved in the chat, liking the videos, watching the videos. Most importantly, I appreciate it all. I'm just happy to be doing it. It's fun. I hope it's enjoyable for you guys in some way, shape, or form. But for me, just getting the chance to sit and live engage with United fans from across the country, from across the world. We've got fans from Africa, fans from Malaysia. My boy Danny already in the chat. Big up my guy coming to me from Beantown. But it's awesome, man. Where else could you do that, man? It's awesome. So I'm so appreciative, so excited. Today, obviously, a little specialized video. You know, we're deep into the international break. And I don't know about you, but I've kind of hit that 50-50 mark where in my mind and in my heart where I want Premier League football back. You know, I wanted the break after that last result, especially, you know, needed some breathing room. But now I'm like at that point where I want it back. And then the other half of my mind's like, oh, please, God, nobody get injured. Because we all know we just have the most horrible luck when it comes to preseason and friendlies and international breaks and these injuries. Maybe there's a reason they call it an international break. I don't know. Dark Crow, big up, man. Welcome back to the channel, dude. But I'm just praying for no injuries and want everybody to get back from the break healthy, fit, you know, match fit, most importantly, but also just, you know, physically fit, you know, no injuries. So have I mentioned I hate friendlies and international breaks? I can't say it enough. I really hate that, especially mid-season, especially 3 weeks into the season. I think that's ridiculous. But anyway, Dark Horse is playing against any team scares me. Yeah, these days you're not wrong there, my guy. So anyway, as we wait for normal proceedings to resume, and maybe while some of us today are waiting for the Netherlands match in about a half hour or so, I think Xerxes and De Ligt are starting. I wanted to take a closer look today at Manchester United's Europa League stage draw. Obviously, new format. We did that video a little while back on the new format and what that looks like after we had the draw. So go check that out. Maybe I'll pop that in the description after the fact. But I want to take a closer look at the draw, a closer look at, you know, where we're traveling, who we're hosting. I want to look at the opponents, obviously. And then I also want to, you know, because it's all context, right? I want to also look at who we play in the league directly after some of these Thursday night matches. And then I saw a nice little graph, so I wanted to talk a little bit about the total distance, because, you know, you use Europa League matches, you know, you're going out to the middle of BFE, as we say in America, some of these matches. So a lot of teams are going to have to travel a lot. I saw a nice little chart that we'll take a look at on total kilometers each team's going to have to travel round trip. But I also wanted to get your thoughts, most importantly, on how you think we're going to do in these matches during this league phase, you know, based on who we get, where we're traveling. We don't travel well in general, even in our domestic league, so that's going to be a big consideration. So how do you think we're going to finish? Do you think we're going to qualify? We're going to talk about all that. Danny says we got battered today. Gone are the Roy and Robbie Keane days. Yeah, did you guys watch the Legends match earlier today? But you're talking about Ireland, aren't you? Yeah. I haven't really been watching the friendlies. I keep meaning to, but a lot of them are not on streaming on anything that I get. I think a few of them were on Paramount, maybe like Fox Soccer or Fox Sports or something. So we'll see. If we wrap up early enough, I might go turn on the Netherlands match, but you have to walk the dogs too. It's always something with these dogs. So let's start today by taking a look at the squad that we've announced for the Europa League, because there are some interesting discussion points in there. So as we dive in, please hit that like button for me. Please subscribe to the channel if you are new. Let's get stuck in. So a few days ago, the Europa League squad was announced. You can pretty much a given for some of these. So Andre Onana, Bayindir, Tom Heaton, and then Dermot Mee. Harry Amos was included. Diogo Dalot, Delit, Johnny Evans, Victor Lindelof, Harry Maguire, Lissandro Martinez, Nusser Mizraoui, Lenny Yoro, Luke Shaw, and Tyrell Malacia were also included. Casemiro, Eriksson, Bruno Fernandes, Mason Mount, Manuel Ugarte, and then Ahmad, Anthony, Hoyland, Rashford, and Xerxes were the official inclusions in the squad for the Europa League. Danny, I do not have a Fire Stick, man. I've got an Xbox Series X and just a few different apps. The streaming apps are funny. Like everybody cut the cord like a decade ago, right, to get rid of like cable packages. But now you've got to pay for and download like 5 or 6 different apps if you want to watch everything, which is basically like having a cable package again. So pretty soon some company is going to come in and be like, oh, we'll consolidate all your streaming apps into one app for you. So basically turning it back into a cable package. So yeah, I pick and choose. I'll get most of the matches that I need to watch through Paramount, through ESPN, Peacock, all that kind of stuff. So I don't miss much. The ones I don't watch are like the French league and then like the Brazilian league. It's just hard to get time to watch all the football that I want, even though I do watch a lot. And plus, the different streaming apps will lose their licenses every now and then. So I used to watch like the Dutch league on one, now maybe on another one. So it's really weird. But no, I do not have a Fire Stick. I know you guys have referred. What was the other TV service? It was like IPTV or something. I don't know, but let me know. So looking at that squad. So obviously, first things first, Tyrell Malacia was a surprise inclusion for a lot of people. We know that he's back in training now. Not full training, but back in training. He's missed over a year of football due to that knee injury. This is a little surprising that he's included, especially since we know Tenhag is a bit strict when it comes to the fitness, especially after injury. I mean, the guy knew he wouldn't be using Manuel Ugarte already well before we even bought him and finalized that deal. Like, that's how strict he is. He just assumes, like, no, he's not going to be ready. Now, whether that's a legit thing, because we know Ugarte didn't really play over the summer, or if it's just a Ten Hag being stubborn thing, like, no, I've decided that he's not ready. I don't think he's ready, so it doesn't matter if he is or not. But even if you did watch Uruguay's match against Paraguay last night, Ugarte was on fire. I put out a tweet, it's just saying. So it seems like Ugarte's match fit. The dude was putting in tackles. The dude was getting around. He had like the best pass completion of anyone in the match last night. Like, the guy's ready. Just play him. So again, Luke Shaw's on the list, which is a little surprising. And Harry Amos was included. Now, Harry Amos could have been put on the B list, just coming through the academy, right? But he wasn't included on the full list. So it might be telling, just how big of a part Ten Hag has in store for Amos. Sometimes, though, these youngsters are included just so they can get the experience. We've seen that throughout the years. Just traveling with the team, getting the Europa League experience and all that stuff. Some managers think that that's good for him. Shaw and Malacia, though, in the squad likely means that Ten Hag's been given some assurances regarding their fitness. But, I mean, we've seen that movie before, haven't we? Know how that ended last season when we were given assurances about their fitness, right? It left us high and dry in the left back department heading into the season. So not only did we pick up those injuries and we got Reguilon, but then we were told Reguilon, Shaw Malacia will be fit, so we didn't have to keep Reguilon, and we all saw what happened. So we will see what happens this time. We are already super, super light as far as fullbacks are concerned. So let's just hope they get back, they stay fit, and we'll see what happens. The squad does, again, kind of reiterate the point that we are a bit light in midfield, not necessarily in personnel, but just in the quality, in my opinion. Bruno, Casemiro, Eriksson, Mount, and Ugarte doesn't fill me with confidence, at least the same kind of confidence it would have filled me with like 3 years ago. Especially when it comes to squad rotation, it shows that we are very, very light and also limited with our capabilities. Eriksson limits us in some ways. Casemiro limits us some way. Mount limits us because he can't be relied upon to stay fit. And so when you start deeping it shows us how light we are. Again, like Shaw, I just don't think we can count on Mount. And with that light midfield amidst the busy fixture schedule this season, it's not filling me with a ton of confidence. Plus, and then you never know what Casemiro is going to show up on the given day. He would look fine in preseason, look fine the first matches or so. trimmed up, getting involved, and then just fell off a cliff against Liverpool. He just looked like he wanted to be anywhere else but Old Trafford that day, and hooked at halftime for good reason. Again, part of that was on the system as well. Casemiro was isolated, but the system doesn't make Casemiro misplace a pass or put a throw-in pass directly back out of play. Like, that's not system, that's Casemiro. So see what we do here. Of course, Manu and Collier are going to be on the B list, so we can count on them as well. So it does get a little better, but still, I think we definitely need to improve on midfield. Danny and I have kind of agreed on that for the last several months. Definitely need midfielders, probably need 2 midfielders. I think we're going to look at left backs and midfielders next summer. We'll see what happens. So I don't believe that Sekou Kone was on the list at all, since he did kind of arrive late in the window. But I think that judging from what we've heard the last couple days, that he's kind of seen as this first team option. Really, he's almost first team ready. Remember, he was playing first team football in Mali, and so he is young, but he was playing first team football, similar to like Sfera Nipan. He's playing first team football, so he's a first team footballer. But what that does mean, even if he's not included in the Europa League, he can still play a part rotation wise and squad depth throughout the season to some of the cup ties and whatnot. So don't sleep on Kone being in and around the first team this season. And then so everybody's getting, let me jump in this live chat. Wasn't it Slot's system that hurt Casemiro at Old Trafford? It was both and. I wouldn't say necessarily Slot's system, because, again, Slot's only been here a little bit. A lot of that had to do with the fact that Liverpool were already very well-conditioned, well-drilled, and already had been together for a long time, and they have a really good squad. What Slot did was make them play a little bit more patient and compact a little bit. And he exploited basically the space that we left between our midfield and our defense, which isn't hard to do on the day. So I don't know if that's necessarily a system thing or just a tactical instruction thing on the day, but we will see. I think a lot of people are too quick to hype up Arne Slot, just as a lot of people are too quick to call for Erik Tenhag to get fired because of one match, 3 matches into the season. So we'll see how it goes. Rajat, welcome to the chat. But Danny says every system at this stage hurts Casemiro. He's not looking like he can hang at this level right now. But yeah, Rajat says big up Rajat, everybody, for stopping by. Rajat says Ange started kind of off like Ange at Spurs. You mean Arne? Yeah, it could just mean new manager bounce. I mean, don't sleep on new manager bounce. We've seen it time and time again. Postecoglou is a good example. Danny says Ireland gone so bad, Rashad. Oh man. And so as far as the squad goes, it's the usual suspects as far as the attackers go. Garnacho is going to be on that B list, being, a youngster technically from the academy. So again, Malacia, Shaw are a little bit of a surprise inclusion. We got some players coming in the B list. Midfield is a little light, so we'll see what happens there. I want to look now at our league phase schedule. We touched upon the draw last week, but I want to know what your thoughts are on the opponents first and foremost. So let me just go ahead and bring up the schedule so we can all look at it together. All right. So this is our schedule for the Europa League, the league phase. It's still going to be so hard because it's redundant. Even if you look at UEFA's website, it's Europa League phase. Like, it's so weird to have to say it that way. I just call it the group stage. I don't care anymore. So obviously we've looked at this a little bit before. I wanted to get your thoughts on it. So we start off in a few weeks at home against FC20. That's where Ten Hag started his playing career and ended his playing career. So kind of a cool little reunion in some ways. Then we get to travel back to back for 2 matches, again, back away to Porto, away to Fenerbahce. Not going to be fun. Obviously, and we host PAOK Greek side. Good thing we host them. Would Harry Maguire even be able to go to Greece if we played them away this season? Has that ever resolved itself? I don't remember what ever happened with that. We got Bodo Glimt. I think they're Norwegian. Victoria Plzeň, they are from the Czech league. Rangers at home in January, and then Stade Bucharest, a Romanian team that we got to travel to. One of the furthest sides we have to head to. All of these are going to be 8 p.m. kickoffs local time. That's 3 p.m. my time. I don't know where you guys, except for that match on the 12th of December. That's going to be kicking off at 12:45 my time, 5:45 local time. Danny says we should at least be getting 4 to 5 points in the first 3 games, win the next 2 after that, and we should be good. Yeah, and remember, it's a different format this season as well for that. So it's, 16 teams, the top 8 go directly through to the next stage and whatnot. And then the other teams that didn't qualify, half those qualify. It's so weird. And it's all just for money. It's just UEFA trying to make that money. It's UEFA pushing closer and closer to the Super League, which honestly, the Super League has been in the works for a while. It wasn't just a 2021 thing. If you guys read the book, The Club, I forget who it's by now. I've read it. There's a chapter in there. So the book was written in like 2015, 2016. There's a chapter in there on the early meetings of planning the Super League, for which Ed Woodward was a part of those meetings. And this book was written almost 10 years ago. So Raja says, yeah, okay, every game was a one-off game. Yeah, it's one-off. You don't play home and away legs. You don't play each team twice. It's one and done, and that is it, which is kind of cool. Plus, you no longer drop into it's not like Champions League. If you get knocked out of the Champions League in the group stage, you don't get dropped down to the Europa League anymore, which I really like as well. Darko says we should just concentrate on Premier League fighting relegation with Leicester, Everton, and Southampton. Oh boy, y'all are being pessimistic. I get it. We're all frustrated, but that's cool. So that's our schedule. So some potential banana skins in there, if we're honest. Again, traveling to Porto and Fenerbahce, not going to be ideal. Maybe this is just me being a little timid. I don't like Porto. And again, Porto have lost a few of their big players. But Porto, that atmosphere playing in Portugal at Porto is not going to be fun. They actually were very good in the Champions League last season. Alan Varela is a very, very good defensive midfielder. That dude gets around the pitch and he sweeps up like nobody's business. He is one that I've watched for a while. I know Danny B likes him as well. I love Alan Varela a lot. He would have been like another option for me, like aside from Ugarte. Fenerbahce, we know that's not going to be fun. Not only could these be tough matches because, again, Porto tend to put up a fight, but Jose at Fenerbahce is going to want a bit of revenge. Jose loves that. He loved that at Spurs. He just wants that. He punished us at Spurs that one match. Was not fun. And Jose is going to want that because Jose just does that. Jose is all about performance, and I don't just mean on the pitch. I mean as a manager, performing for the fans, getting fans to love him, basically. He's all about that. Raja says, I'm sort of worried about Porto game as well. Danny says, love to see Varela. I love Alan Varela. I loved him when he was at Boca. Went to Porto. He's going to be another one who's going to cost a lot of money. And he's still super young, too. He's such a good midfielder, though. Raja says, no Fred hat trick versus us, Fred, please. Yeah, and that's another thing. We're going to get a little bit of a reunion with Fred. Amrabat's there now, I believe, as well. So it's going to be interesting. Traveling to these is not going to be fun. And honestly, considering our away form just in general, like when we're just heading to Brighton or something, we struggle to just wake up. Like, so traveling to like Romania and Turkey, that's probably going to kill us, honestly. I found the other day too, like I said, a list of the kilometers that each club in the Europa League is going to have to travel. Let me share that one with you guys too, so you can check that out as well, because it's interesting. Somebody actually kind of broke it down. All right, so let's look at this. This is kilometers. This is by kilometers. Can you guys see that? So obviously, Karabag have got the most traveling to do, and they're way out in Azerbaijan. Bodo Glimt next. We are down. Where are we? We're like 10th or 11th down there. We're going to be traveling just over 15,000 kilometers away. It's a round trip, so it's like 7,500 kilometers to the place of 7,500 kilometers back to Manchester. Lots and lots of travels. If you look all the way on the opposite side, Spurs have about 5,000 less kilometers us to travel. And it's just based on where you're located, and it doesn't help when like Karabag, you're way out in the middle of nowhere. But this is what happens when you get to the Europa League and you start playing these Wi-Fi password teams. Just no one's ever heard of them before. They're way out in the middle of nowhere, and so anything. I mean, that's that's some crazy distance, and that's not gonna be fun. Like I said, we don't even travel well when we go to Brighton. I don't know what's gonna happen when we got to go out to like Romania and whatnot. Raja says we'd like to see Ederson come to Man United. You mean the midfielder or the keeper? I've never really rated Ederson at City. He's got some howlers in him. He and Allison both have some howlers in them, to be honest. I think Allison led the league not that long ago for like errors leading to goal, actually. So it is what it is. Raja says my Wi-Fi password is password ABC. It's a good password. Mine used to be a long time ago when I was like a kid. I would make my password like password spelled backwards or something. But Ederson from Atlanta. We were linked with him for a while. He's still at Atlanta now. He'll probably go, and I could see him leaving in January too. Maybe that's somebody we could go back in for. But in any case, as you can see by the total kilometers, we've got just over 15,000 kilometers traveled round trip in the Europa League. That's a lot of distance. I feel bad again for Karabag. I mean, in Azerbaijan, they're going to be traveling more than 7,000 kilometers than the next club on the list. So they've got the most. That's insane. But again, that is the luck of the draw when you're one of these Wi-Fi passwords, though. So when we look at these Thursday Europa League matches, I also think it's important to consider the league matches following each one, because it's like the fixtures list is always crazy packed. We've got Thursday, Sundays when we're doing these Europa League matches. And if you look at some of the schedules for the matches after we have to travel and stuff, some of it we kind of got the short end of the stick in some ways. So if we look at we host FC20 first and foremost, and then we host Spurs the following that following Saturday, which isn't bad. You stay at home, but then when we travel to Porto, right, in the second match week, and then we have to travel to Villa that following week, that weekend that we're back. So just a few days later, it's travel. It's the same with Fenerbahce. We've got to go to we've got to go to Turkey, and then we come back, and that weekend we have to go to West London to play West Ham. Not fun. We host PAOK, and then we host Leicester. Then we host Bodo Glimt, and then we've got Everton at home following that. Then we got to go to the Czech League, play Victoria, but then it's the Manchester Derby that same weekend. So we got to travel all the way out to the Czech Republic, and then we got to come back and play Man City that weekend. We host Rangers, and then we got to travel to Fulham, and then we got to go to Bucharest, and then we got to host Crystal Palace. So those two matches, those two big toughies, Porto, Fenerbahce, we're traveling, and then we come back and immediately travel that weekend. And then we've got to travel all the way out to the Czech Republic and then come back and do that Manchester Derby. So it's not fun, in my opinion. It's quite a bit of travel in there for the Premier League, especially immediately after a long Europa League commute in some of these cases. So I don't know whose idea it was to schedule back-to-back away matches like that on Thursdays and Sundays, but it's not ideal at all. It really doesn't help us out. What do you guys got to say here? Darko, it wasn't worth stopping City in the FA Cup this time and getting to UCL traveling everywhere when it was life and death matters to stop City last season in the FA Cup to stop their trouble. Yeah, we kind of shit the bed 2 seasons ago in that FA Cup final. I mean, conceding a goal literally 11, 13 seconds into the match because just nobody was switched on. That doesn't set the tone, in my opinion. It doesn't set a good tone. It was a shit match. I was not happy. I was not happy with De Gea that match. I was not happy with Lindelof that match. I didn't even fully got my beer and everything at the pub I just missed that because it just happened. So there are people who were still kind of trickling in to Loaded Dice and Troy, big up Loaded Dice, for that match you just missed it because who expected it to happen. So Darko says, history will remind this manager and these players who failed to stop City's trouble when it was in their hands in the FA Cup. I mean, honestly, the Court of Arbitration for Sport could stop their trouble for us this month. We'll see what happens there. It's up to everybody to stop City's trouble. I mean, I get it. They're our Manchester rivals. I get it. I never really considered City rivals just because of the way their club it's grown and the questionable means by which that's happened. Were you expecting us to win a trophy, to win a treble ourselves, just 2 seasons in, or a season? Really, that was Ten Hag's first season. Were you expecting that right away? We've got a long way to go to get there. Not only is it City and they're stacked, Pep Guardiola, but they've been together for 8-9 years. Some of those players have been together for the last 5 or 6 years. Same with Liverpool. It's getting that point with Arsenal now, which we're not going to get there yet. Liverpool were like 20 points ahead of us the other season. Like, we're not there yet. It didn't take some time, but what it's going to take is backing a manager through the tough times as well. Now, you're only going to know if that's the right manager if you're able to be patient and put faith in them and back them. And I don't just mean financially, through those tough times. And I mean, some of the fans, if social media was as bad as it is now, as if it was even around back when Fergie was first year, we probably would have sacked him as well, especially under the Glazers and whatnot. There's more evidence to suggest that sticking by a manager is going to yield positivity than evidence to suggest that sacking one every couple of years is going to help. So I hear you. It's frustrating. We did have a part to play in that. We could have done better in some of those matches, but at the same time, we're not there yet. So Raja says, who cares if they won the treble? They did not in the best way. Inter, yeah, I thought Inter were going to do better in that final, honestly. They did well to get there. Onana was like the best keeper in the Champions League that season. It just wasn't their day. Raja says City is only remembered as oil club. I don't even care the oil club. The oil club stuff doesn't bother me. That's a whole nother video for a whole nother time. So again, lots of travel. Let's look right now at how this league phase is going to look for everyone else, because there's a ton. When I bring up this table, it's a lot. There's a lot of teams because it's expanded right now, right? Let me share this with you. So let's take a look at this together. You guys see that all right? So obviously we are in the pot one, right? And we were second with the winning the FA Cup, put us in that top seed. But it's pretty interesting. There's a lot of teams. It's like a periodic table on here. So Spurs, let's look way down at the bottom. We've got Spurs. So they have Roma, Rangers, Akmar, Galatasaray. So Galatasaray, if Galatasaray scoop up Rabiot, I mean, Galatasaray handled us at home last season. I was there for that match. That was not a fun match to be at, but they handled us. They're not a team to be taken lightly. Lazio have a bit of a iffy start to their campaign. Rangers have a bit of an iffy start, in my opinion, as well. Ajax have a couple of toughies in there as well. Porto have a pretty decent run. Roma gets Spurs. It's interesting. Anything in there you guys are finding interesting? Anything stick out? Nothing really here. Lazio, yeah, Frankfurt. It's there's a lot of teams in here this year. Let me go back here. So as always, the Europa League involves a lot of travel, a lot of iffy matchups, but it does offer fans the chance to see some of these sides that they don't really get to see that often. Some sides you're not quite familiar with, some sides that, I mean, could honestly give somebody a black eye. But this means that other teams, our club and our manager might not be familiar with them as well. And so it could go either way. Yes, some of these teams are smaller, but we've seen that it's not exactly a cakewalk. When they're teams that you're not quite familiar with, that means nobody's familiar with them. So there's always a chance for an upset. That's why we love the game. That's why we love the Premier League too. I'm just happy that Unai Emery is not in it, and he can't drop down from the Champions League if Villa get knocked out of their league phase. The guy's won it. The guy won it 3 times in a row, the Europa League. It's the Emery Cup as far as I'm concerned. I don't want him anywhere near it. It's like maybe somebody else can get a chance this season finally. And so remember, yes, the top 8 teams overall advance directly to the next round. That's the round of 16. Sides that finish from 9th to 24th will contest the knockout round playoffs, with the victors of those going to the last 16 as well. And so does that make a little more sense there, Rajat? I know you're asking about that. It is confusing. It is a lot of moving parts, and you guys know how I feel about having a lot of moving parts in any situation. One of the trips that I was looking at was that West Ham and then that other Europa League, and I'm like, I don't want to have to stay in Manchester, go to West Ham, do this and that. Like, that's just too many moving parts. I'm not all about that. So as far as our chances go, Raja says Glint is not that good. They okay. I mean, we'd still have to. You never know with the way we play these days. So as far as our chances go, I want to know your chances. I'll give you what some of the betting sites. So Bet365 has us 5-1 odds to win the Europa League. But Spurs are currently favorites as far as the betting's concerned. Spurs are 9-2, so not too far off, but still favorites. Roma is next, just behind us with 8-1 odds. So they have us second favorites to win the whole thing. Bet365 also has Spurs favorites to win this league stage, to top this phase, and then us coming in second in this league phase. I know somebody earlier wanted to say it was Danny. He says we should at least be getting 4 to 5 points in the first 3 games, win next 2 after that. We should be good. So I'm going to go back up to that one, and we'll go through again and see what you guys think we should be doing here. Because that's what we can do on these shows. Now that I learned how to share my screen with you guys. So with that in mind, so we're second favorites to win the whole Europa League. Second favorites to, we have us as second to, as far as the league phase concerned. How many points do you guys see us getting from these matches? Let me go through here. Let me scroll back down to the chat. Let me know what you guys think as far as points go. So FC20, I think we'll win. So there's 3 points. I think that, yeah, I don't know. I could see us getting a draw at Porto despite my better judgment. Just simply, if it were last season, I would say there's no way we're getting a result away at Porto. But because they lost Evan Nielsen, because they lost Taremi, let me see who they have in their squad these days, because I don't even remember who they replaced those guys with as far as strikers go. Darko says 9 points. Yeah. Yeah, Porto just lost 2-0 to Sporting, but they have been doing really well. They've had nothing but clean sheets going into that. And so Darko says 2 wins and 3 draws. Porto were very good, Rajat, but they've lost a few players. I'm just checking their squad now to see who they have as strikers these days. You guys keep chatting. So still they have Diogo Costa. Diogo Costa is a very good keeper. Pepe retired, so no more Pepe. I do like Nehuén Perez. I do think he's a very good defender. He was at now it's off the top of my Udinese, I want to say. He was at Udinese. I think he just moved. Trying to see who else they have. So Fabio Vieira went back there after going to Arsenal, which is no one's talking about that one. But they lost a lot of they lost 2 big strikers. They didn't really replace them with anyone as far as I'm concerned of quality. They still have Galeno on the wing, and Galeno is actually a very good winger. Remember, he was doing the dirty last season in Europe for them. So Alan Varela, Galeno, very good. Diogo Costa, obviously very good. I think we could get a point at Porto. So I think we're going to get 3 points against FC20, a point at Porto. I think we will lose against Fenerbahce, but I think it's literally going to be like a 1-0 Fenerbahce win, because that's how Jose Mourinho does things. And so I think we'll beat PAOK. I think we'll beat Bodo Glimt. I think we'll probably get a draw away, because I don't think we travel well at Victoria Plezan. I think we'll probably draw against Rangers, and I do think that we'll beat Bucharest. So I do think that is, I wasn't even keeping track. So I think that's 4, 7. I think that we're looking at 9. Looking at 10, I think we're looking at 11, and I think I'm looking at 14 points from this as far as my predictions go, and it sounds like it's kind of right in line with what you guys are saying. Let me see. Darko says 9 points, 2 wins and 3 draws. Danny says we should be at least getting 12, 15 points. So I'm saying we're going to get 14 with a loss to Fenerbahce and draws against Porto, Victoria Plezan, and Rangers, because I don't think we travel well to the Czech Republic, and I think that there's a chance we might not travel against Bucharest, but I do think we should be Bucharest. Bucharest, I could still go either way, so it could be 12, it could be 14, depending on how that last one goes. But hopefully we have it wrapped up by then, so we can maybe rotate a little bit, but we'll see how that goes. Darko says that's based on the first 3 match results. I mean, we'll see. Ugarte is going to come in. We're going to get some of these players back fit. Hoyland, I think we're going to see a big shift once Højlund gets back fit and firing. If Rashford continues to put balls in the box for a Højlund like he did for Xerxes the other day, if Rashford's maybe dropping back and getting more involved in the chance creation and less concerned about taking on 8 defenders at once and shooting from distance, we could see a whole different side to his game. I'm not saying that that's what's going to guarantee to happen, but if Højlund were on the end of some of those, I think we might see it. And I'm not saying Xerxes bad, but I think Højlund is just, he's more clinical. And we saw that last season. His conversion rate was on point. He was getting the one shot and he was scoring many, many times. And so I think when we get people back fit, you're going to see a different side. You're going to see a different result in some of these. But that's where the pressure comes in. If you don't feel pressure as a Manchester United manager, then you're either an idiot or you just don't care. Raja says Porto lost a lot of players this summer. Like I said, Pepe retired. Evan Nilsson went to Bournemouth. Taremi, I forget where Taremi went. And it's going to be interesting. Darko says we are finished under Tenhag. He himself is confused. Southampton game will be his last. Take my word. Sounds like you're a Tenhag out person, Darko, which is fine. Have your opinion. I think that I would rather just back the manager, and see what happens. But we will see. I just hope you're not one of those people who is wanting us to lose, who is celebrating when Liverpool scored the other day. I've seen some videos of people doing that, and I just think that's just weird, personally. But if we lose against Southampton, I do agree that he will be under some pressure. Honestly, and it doesn't even matter like how much, like the nature. Even if it's just like 1-0 or like 2-1, even if it's like 4-3, like I don't think that's going to look good. And so we will see how that goes, though. Raja says from loan deal, don't know if they have options to buy Conceição. Is that the young winger who was at Ajax? Is that who that is? Raja says 10, 13 points or 15 points is ideal. Yeah, for me, it could either go, I think it's either going to be 12 or 14, depending on that last match against Bucharest. Let me stop sharing this so we can get back here. But it's just the travel. We just don't travel well. And so I see us struggling against Plzeň in the Czech League. I see us struggling maybe against Bucharest, but we should be beating them. Like we should. There's no reason that we shouldn't be beating these guys. But then we have a tendency to just gift some of these smaller sides wins. Didn't we gift? Who was it? Was it Sharif that we played a couple years ago in the Europa League, and we gifted them like their first win in Europe or something ever? Like I don't remember who that was, but somebody remind me if you guys remember that. It was some random team, or maybe it was that under 10? I don't remember now. It feels like it's so long ago. Raja said he doesn't shoot as much Rashford, to be honest. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I worry if it's a tactical thing, like if he's been told to maybe create. But against Liverpool, there was that chance he had to keep kind of drive into the box. He had space, he had time, and he opted just to stop and pass it backwards. So maybe it's a confidence thing as well. Maybe he just doesn't back himself in those situations anymore. Raja says he transferred to Inter. Who are you talking about? Darko said, did I tell you I'm temporarily supporting Arteta's Arsenal? Oh, no, Darko. You can't be one of those guys. We don't want Arsenal to win anything because that's been our whole banter these last 5 seasons is that Arsenal are winning fuck all under Arteta. So we gotta keep something to banter them. As far as I'm concerned, let City win everything because like everything's right now has an asterisk next to it. And the more they win, the more can be taken away. And so it's in the league's best interest to wrap this up because the longer this goes on and the more trophies they win, the more things you're going to have to worry about null and voiding, which just means more teams miss out on it. So get it wrapped up, FA, so we can get all this squared away. I worry that like the way Chelsea just got away with some stuff, they got cleared. I worry a little bit more now that City aren't going to get punished as much. I know Justin was here the other weekend and he was like, I want them to be relegated. I want fines. I want bans. I don't care if you fine them. I don't care if you relegate them. I just want all their trophies to be taken away. That's all I want. And within the time frame that's under discussion, take all the trophies away and take that. That's all I want. Darko says, better Arsenal for Premier League than City and Liverpool. But I mean, yeah, Liverpool, yeah, I agree. But City, like, I just don't care as much if City win it because of everything that's been going on. Everything is going to have an asterisk next to it. If Arsenal win it, they've done it legitimately. If Liverpool win it, they've done it legitimately. And I get for the sake of the sporting integrity, cool, you want the legitimately good teams who do well do it. But at the same time, Like then we lose a lot of the banter from Arsenal. So it's just, I don't know. Everybody's different though. That's why we're here, right? Raja says, "All right, is that Israeli team? Not sure fully if they are accused right about Manchester. Yeah, we'll see what happens with City. But again, we are the Bet365 odds are that we're second to favorites to win the Europa League. They have us finishing second in the group. What do you guys think? Where do you think we'll finish? I think we're going to get between 12, 14 points. I think that last match is going to be the kicker. I think it's either going to be a draw because we struggle or a draw because we've already locked things up and we're rotating. But let me know what you think. I just wanted to take some time today, like I said, to take a closer look at the league phase of our Europa League draw and just see what that has in store for us. We should be at least coming through the league phase very, very easily, very, very smoothly. And honestly, I would like to see to get to the semifinals, but you never know in a cup competition. It's all the luck of the draw, and we'll see how it goes. But I do appreciate you guys for stopping by. Don't forget, I know I've said it a couple times in the last couple days, but if you do want to get your next jersey and you don't want to spend over $100 on an official one from the club because they're outrageously overpriced these days, head over to GoGo Shop. There is a link in the video description. You can get $5 off. They hooked me up with a $5 coupon for you guys as to help me just kind of express my thanks and appreciation for all you guys are doing for the channel. So go check them out. Like I said, I just ordered this year's third a couple days ago. Hopefully it'll be here soon. I'll let you guys see it when it gets here if you're still on the fence. But I've already got a couple jerseys from them. You guys have seen them. They're a very good little shop, and they sell a ton of jerseys because it's great quality, super cheap. I mean, you can get like 5 or 6 of these jerseys for the cost of like one from the official United mega store. So keep that in mind. Like the video if you haven't yet. Please subscribe to the channel if you are new. I'm going to go see if I can find the Netherlands match and see how everyone's doing and just keep praying for no injuries. But I do appreciate everyone who stopped by. Danny, Rajat, Darkrow. I want to say I saw Usman up there earlier. Usman, were you up there? No, just Darkrow. Not just Darkrow. Like, you're not important, but you guys have similar colors for your little icons. So sometimes I mix them up a little bit. But Raja, what was that store? I mean, it's called GoGo Shop. If you go to the description of the video, there's a link in there. You can click right on that link. It'll take you right to the website with the coupon code. So you guys go ahead and check that out. Really good quality. So I'm going to leave it there. Thank you guys for stopping by. I will see you guys on the next one. Later.